Hey, it says I am live here. Hopefully, you guys are doing well. I am in Reading this morning, and it's kind of a gloomy day here. So, uh, I'm kind of looking forward to going back to Mount Shasta later to see what the weather's like and hoping that it's better than this, but I'm not really sure because I haven't looked. Anyways, I am meeting with Matt Rudd, the president of the chess club, here in just a little while. I'm not really sure what time he's going to be here. So whenever he comes, I'm going to get off of here. I got him. This is the first time I've been to Reading since Christmas. So I got Christmas present here for him, which includes he mentioned that he likes Starbucks coffee, so I got him some of their ground coffee, a mug that has a Bible verse on it, and a copy of the Gospel of the Holy 12, which I'm super excited about. I'm not really sure if he'll read it, but I've pretty much given it to all of my local friends um, as a standard gift. So yeah, this is the book, the text, the scroll that changed my life. I don't agree with every single thing written in any of these texts. I do plan someday to kind of compile my own like book of scriptures and include even scriptures from the Bible and other religions as well as the Essene texts that changed my life. So anyways, I was reading this morning and I was kind of wanting to share a story in here from here with you, but it was a little bit noisy in here and I forgot my headphones. So we'll see in just a few minutes if it quiets down a little bit. Hey Ray Webb, how's it going? What was your ban for? I got banned again for medical misinformation, and I just looked in my email and there was like 3 or 4 recent emails saying that they have deleted my videos for the same thing. And these videos are like, you know, significant, like they're old videos, like over a year old plus. Some 3, but I don't even talk about these topics well, I try not to talk about them. I mean, I talk about them, but I try to tiptoe around the topic and basically tell you to avoid whatever doctors suggest, and you'll be way better off. And yeah, so I'm not talking about jabs anymore, and they're still banning me from previous videos, which is really frustrating, but can't really do anything. Ray says, welcome to censorship in an open and free society. Well, that's what you think, but also YouTube isn't like America's platform. So I do understand that they are allowed to have like their own rules. I know that, I mean, the free speech people are going to get mad, but like it's their platform. I have groups on Facebook that don't allow free speech either. So I understand that if they have a platform with rules, unfortunately, it's their freaking house. It's their rules. We have to just obey with them, or abide by them, or don't use their platform. Um, so yeah, that kind of stinks because the other platforms like BitChute and other social media things haven't really kicked off yet. So the masses, the people that we're trying to reach, obviously it's nice to have our echo chamber and have the people, the community that we believe the same things, but we want to awaken more people. I guess I can't speak for you. I want to awaken more people and reach out to others. So I kind of have to stay where they are. Plus, I actually really like Facebook, other than the censorship. I like the platform in general much more than YouTube. I do apologize that I don't interact with people so much in the YouTube comments. I just really don't like YouTube platform. It really bothers me. I don't know. You can't like add pictures, and it's just I don't know why I don't like it, but yeah. So I apologize. But I do love this live chat feature where we can talk in, live time and interact together. So thank you for being here. David D says, welcome back from YouTube jail. Hopefully they don't send you back. I know it's not even fair to strike me for things that I did before and whatever, but I don't know. I guess fair is a matter of their own perspective. One time I got a Facebook ban for saying the T word, that word that describes inverts that they don't really, well, they use it, but when we use it towards them, it's all of a sudden offensive and slang and hateful and hate speech and all this other nonsense. But anyways, I got in trouble for using it like 10 months earlier. So I'm kind of glad that my old Facebook profile got deleted so that I could kind of start with a fresh slate and not have any of my prior misdeeds, coming up at any random point. Like, there's just no, especially on Facebook where there's no way to well, I mean, I guess they do have the buttons where you can appeal it, but how often do you actually get to? I've run into situations where it basically was like, sorry, we don't have enough people working right now. Like, thanks for your feedback. It helps our system. It's like, screw you. Why did I just do this? Anyways. Hi, David D. Hi, Kyle. David D says, hi, looking great as always. Thank you. Kyle says, hey, how's it going, Kyle? Hopefully the weather clears up for you over there. Kyle was saying there's a snowstorm, I believe, right? Was that this morning that the snowstorm was, or last night? David D says you'll need it to mod my new account. Ooh, yeah. I forgot. You said last week or something that you got add as moderator. You had to sign in as a new account. So much truth in the Gospel of the Holy 12. I totally agree. Hey, Rashid, how's it going? Aspect 761 says hello. Hi, how are you? I will talk about the story that I was reading because it's quite fascinating, the different contrasts and comparisons with the Bible and how the different stories kind of overlap and not just overlap, but have a little bit different tellings of stories. In one of the stories that is told in Matthew and Mark, I'm not really sure if it's in Luke as well, but the story of this fig tree where Christ was really hungry and he went up to this fig tree and the fig tree didn't have any fruit, so he basically cursed this fig tree, and then the next day they came back and it was completely withered away, which even as a child I kind of thought that was an interesting Jesus cursed his tree. It was almost kind of immature, I don't know, especially after you read this and hearing what he could have done, using a positive energy towards the tree instead of a negative. So let's read it. That's what the Bible story is, that the fig tree didn't bear fruit. Christ cursed it and it withered. So this is from lection 34 of the Gospel of the Holy 12. And it says, and Christ came to a certain tree and abode beneath it many days. And there came Mary Magdalene and other women, and ministered unto him of their substance. And he taught daily all that came unto him. And the birds gathered around him and welcomed him with their song. And other living creatures came unto his feet, and he fed them, and they ate out of his hands. How cool is that? And when he departed, he blessed the woman who showed love unto him, and turning to the fig tree, he blessed it also, saying, Thou hast given me shelter and shade from the burning heat, and withal thou hast given me food also. Blessed be thou, increase and be fruitful, and let all who come to thee find rest and shade and food, and let the birds of the air rejoice in thy branches. And behold, the tree grew and flourished exceedingly, and its branches took root downward and sent shoots upward, and it spread mightily, so that no tree was like unto it, for its size and beauty, and the abundance and goodness of its fruit. How cool is that? The complete opposite of a curse where this tree withers away. He blesses the tree, and it becomes the most abundant and fruitful tree, all around. That is so cool. I'm beaming. In this chapter, it also tells a story about Christ going into a village, and he sees a cat, which is kind of interesting. We don't really hear in the mainstream about Christ interacting, with animals. In that first story I just read, he has all of these the birds are like flying around him. It reminds me of Snow White, where all of the animals are like helping her do her chores and all this stuff. Obviously, I'm not seeing Christ do chores and stuff like that, but the whole concept of these birds fluttering about and the animals just being all around him. In earlier stories, it talks about him as a child, and wherever he would walk, these flowers would just spring up under his feet because he was just so full of God's power, so connected to not just God's power. It's this balance of the heavenly earthly mother, trinity of you as their child, and then your mother and father coming together to accomplish something, to be in the concept of I and my father are one, where your will is on the same page. You're of one mind. You have the same vision, the same beliefs, the same mindset. You're one, right? So anyways, it's kind of an interesting, I was kind of read on here about this story. I thought Kyle would kind of like it. And as Jesus Christ, I just usually say Christ and try to avoid Jesus and Yeshua and Yahushua and all these name game issues. I don't believe that his name was Jesus, but I think that finding his actual message is more important than us arguing over what his name is. So, anyways, as Christ entered into a certain village, he saw a young cat which had none to care for her. And she was hungry and cried unto him. And he took her up and put her inside his garment, and she lay in his bosom. And when he came into the village, he set food and drink before the cat, and she ate and drank and showed thanks unto him. And he gave her unto one of his disciples, who was a widow, whose name was Lorenza, and she took care of her. And some of the people said, This man careth for all creatures. Are they his brothers and sisters, that he should love them? And he said unto them, Verily, these are your fellow creatures of the great household of God. Yeah, they are your brethren and sisters, having the same breath of life in the eternal. And whosoever careth for one of the least of these, and giveth it to eat and drink in its need, the same doeth it unto me. And whoso willingly suffereth one of these to be in want, and defendeth it not when evilly entreated, suffereth the evil as done unto me. I love how it says, and defendeth it not when entreated, when evilly entreated. So that means like it's not that you're not just not participating in what that evil is. It's like if you don't defend it when it's being treated evilly, then you are actively part of the problem too. Like it's just as bad as if you didn't step in if it was Christ being treated like that. So I really love that. Like it calls for action further than just abstaining from the activity. For as ye have done in this life, so shall it be done unto you in the life to come. That's cool too, not only because it's mentioning reincarnation, but the whole fact of the matter is that you could be that cow at a CAFO in the next life. You could be a pig in a gestation crate. You could be in one of these absolutely horrible situations in the next life to come. And frankly, when you do it in this life, you are karmically deserving it. You're asking for it. You're consenting to it. So you should always keep that in mind as well. That could be your living hell the next time around. Kyle says it snowed early this morning in Michigan. Oh, okay. Well, stay safe out there driving. And Kyle also said lovely cat story. I'm glad that you like that. Yeah, it's really cool. Like cats and even lion and birds and all sorts of different animals that Christ comes into contact with in this gospel. So I think there's a lot of things in it that are missing from the biblical aspect, like just the coolness of like what's coming to mind right now, as I mentioned before, when he was a child, he came up to these the first thing was that he, walked in these flowers like sprung up from his feet. But he came across these boys that were trying to cage birds, and like even as a child, he was basically saying like, who's trying to enslave these birds, and what if that was you? And I think the boys actually killed some of the birds in the story, and Christ picked them up and breathed life into them. So let me see if it's in this. It might be in the Gospel of the Essene Gospel of Peace. But it's not that one. Yeah, here we go. And on a certain day, the child Christ came to a place where a snare was set for birds, and there were some boys there. And Christ said to them, "Who hath set this snare for the innocent creatures of God? Behold, in a snare shall they in like manner be caught." And he beheld 12 sparrows as it were dead. And he moved his hand over them and said to them, "Go, fly away. And while ye live, remember me." And they arose and fled away, making a noise. And the Jews, seeing this, were astonished, and told it unto the priests. In other words, did the child, and flowers were seen to spring up beneath his feet, where there had been naught but barren ground before. And his companions stood in awe of him. I don't know about you, but I would love that to be my. And obviously, intent is really important. Most children really don't get a good chance. They're poisoned before they're even, out of the womb. They're constantly attacked in the womb, even ultrasounds. The way that they are designed, like all of the other technology around us, is to hurt us. This technology is like used for submarines to locate things in the water, and it sends out this ultra sound, this huge blast of frequency that ultimately hurts the baby in multiple different ways. So even from the womb, they're being attacked, and as soon as they come out, they get attacked in every single way as well. So it's really unfortunate, but I am dedicated to making a child that is holy from the womb, which means I need to purify even more. I need myself to be, holy. And I just semi-recently joined a Facebook group. I think it's called Conscious Fruit Feasting. And we're about to do a week-long fruit fast. So I'm really excited about that and kind of pushing myself to the next level spiritually. That Inanna book that Kyle gave me for Valentine's Day has some interesting rituals in it that I want to do, which... I mean, the book doesn't have these requirements, but for me, I want to be in a place that's more pure and really take them seriously. I know that my powers, my everything really is going to be more powerful when I am coming from a position of power. But really not being like having these attachments to food and addictions, being able to control myself and, even fasting and dry fasting, it goes to show you your own strength and how much you can control these things. They try to tell us, that you can't go for more than 3 days without water or a week without food, but you can go in these various fasting groups and see that people are just proving that left and right. So ultimately, as I've said before, it's been a while, but your will to live is what keeps you going. So even when you're in these desperate situations, if you have that will to live, that inner strength, that power, you're going to be able to continue on pretty much any situation, like unless they decapitate you. And even then you can kind of stick around and animate your head if you wanted to. But Anyways, I'm getting a little bit off track. The point is that willpower is like what's important, and it's impressive. So one of the key principles of magic, I guess, is the power of limitation. And when you limit yourself, when you limit your intake of food, your limit your intake of water, of sex, of all of these earthly things, there's power and strength that comes from that. And that's kind of what I'm trying to tap into. So yeah, it's a good kind of place to say that I do post, content that is sexy and whatever. But my intent is not for people to masturbate and, not control themselves over these things. The only reason that I actually ever started doing this is because of the position that I'm in, running the largest transvestigation groups on Facebook, and ultimately trying to set myself up in a position where I am leading people. They need to be able to trust me. So I need to be able to post my biomarkers to show you that I'm a real girl. And I have done that. I'm the only one in the whole community who has posted literally all of their biomarkers for you to see. And it's really frustrating that I continue to be attacked. But I understand to those inverts that are watching me. I understand you lie about yourself. So obviously you're going to lie about me and you're scared. I get that. Your power is going away, and mine is here to stay. You want to throw as much mud as you can to see what sticks, to try to turn humans away. Well, Bentley came here to play, so I guess we're going to. Aspect 761 says, I went to Michigan once. Oh, nice. I'm actually from Ohio, so I have not only traveled to Michigan, I also lived in Michigan for a little while as well. Kyle says cats have nearly the same eyes as snakes, which is strange. Cats don't have the same eyes as leopards, lions, or cheetahs. It's weird. Yeah, there's definitely something interesting about domesticated cats. To be honest, I haven't really been a big fan of house cats for my entire life. I haven't had the greatest experiences with them. But yeah, I think one just left a dead mouse outside of my house as well. So, I mean, I guess at least it's not a bird, but still, I don't want like dead things like gathered at my door. So yeah, I assume that it's from my neighbor's cats, but yeah. Hey, commercial sound and video, how's it going? Aspect 761 says, I've been to Ohio. My uncle and grandparents live there. Interesting. It is definitely a nice place to be from. I can't say that I miss it much, although I do miss my family. But I have my own struggles with the awakening process, and especially going vegan, with being around non-vegans and family that, like, when you're growing up, or I just have like this flashback to having like my niece or nephew trying to go and they want to touch this, like, someone's dog, right? They want to interact. Like, can we pet your puppy, right? And my mom would be like, gentle with the puppy, and it's like, Mom, how are we like gentle with the puppy right here, but when it comes to cows, slit their throat like to eat them? You know what I mean? There's this fundamental disconnect, which pretty much all vegans have, right? We all know deep inside that hurting any animals is wrong, but we've been programmed by various cultures, various things, to believe that certain animals it's okay to do this to certain animals, but there's a certain line that's drawn. These are pets. These are food, and these are all cultural programming, right? Because when you look at it, like, there definitely is a fundamental difference between species. I'm not a vegan that says there's no difference between a dog and a cow, because there are many differences between dogs and cows. But when you see, like, go on YouTube here and look up like cows playing with a ball. Like, they are just giant dogs. They're just so freaking cute and precious and lively, and they want to live. You can see their personality shining through in these different videos. Like, they have personalities like your dogs, your cats, your animals. They're all like that. Even chickens, pig, they all have different personalities and ultimately a soul inside. Anything with the pineal gland has a soul inside of it. So, you know, anything with a pineal gland could be your home the next time around. You could be in that I almost said pig suit, but pig's body, right? I mean, ultimately, these kind of are flesh suits that the mother has been made into for us to travel in her, which is kind of cool. The whole concept of, we don't ever go through anything alone. We have not only that connection to our Heavenly Father, which most people are kind of already attached to with mainstream religions. Most of them are patriarchal, right? And all male only. There's only one deity as well, right? Monotheism. Even ancient, Hebrews were polytheists. I have a book at home that's called "When God Had a Wife," and it talks about how Asherah and Yah were actually worshipped alongside each other. This balance, and then this takeover happened essentially, where it was a patriarchal, monotheistic. The goddess doesn't exist, and if she does, she's a demon type mentality and programming. Burn the witches, destroy their altars. Hey, that is still happening today. Well, not the burn the witches part, but people definitely destroy other people's altars. I'm talking from experience of someone who actually destroyed my altar on Mount Shasta. So, anyways, but yeah, so these ancient cultures had, God and goddess both honored, and this balance between them. And then now we have the patriarchy only, male, 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 or the matriarchal, usually the witches, who are both sides have been set up to be very anti each other. Rightly so. This side has burned this side. Like, they've just been at war with each other for a very long time. And of course, the patriarchy came with this religious system that we have today, the medical system that we have today, that those on this side are against. I'm against it too. So I'm against things on both sides, which is kind of the balancing act. So I'm going to make sure that I am able to pay for Matt's coffee when he comes in here. So he'll probably sneak past me behind me, and I'll just be like, wait, let me pay for it. Okay. David, do you guys see your comment about when am I going to finish the Mount Shasta book? I actually recorded another chapter of it last week, but when I got home after like a half an hour, it took me half an hour to read through the chapter. My headphones weren't working, so you couldn't even hear me talking the whole time, and it was really frustrating. So I have not given it another go. I am thinking about just moving some stuff out of the way at my house and recording in my downstairs area. I just got a new one of the problems that I had before in recording down there was that it gets really cold, and the heater that I had was really hot. So I just got a little oil radiator thing, heater thing, whatever, I don't know. So that will solve that problem, and therefore I plan to record more this week. So that was a long way to answer that question, but there you go. Aspect 761 says, I read that book on Mount Shasta. It's fascinating. Cool. Did you get all the way through it? I have been slow at it. So I've had a lot of other things going on and multiple books to read. So yeah. Recently, not only have I been reading like that Inanna book that Kyle sent me, I did start reading that the Murder of Moses book that you sent me, David, and that was kind of interesting too. I haven't really gotten too far into that. But I have been watching more videos on YouTube of people that like kind of getting inspiration of songwriting tips and stuff like that, and trying to spend more time writing and fiddling around with my guitar. rolling around. I don't know. So yeah, I've kind of been trying to be a little bit more inspirational recently. So Kyle says the disconnect is real. They'll care for pets, but munch down on dead, tortured flesh. Exactly. Yeah. It's all with the programming, right? So it's also why it's like really frustrating when it comes to family, these people that you know and like you love them and you're like you want to shake them. It's like this behavior does not align with who you truly are at a soul level. You're not behaving in alignment with who you are. It's very frustrating, you know. I don't know, when I heard this like so many years ago growing up, it was this concept of like, I love you how you are, but I love you too much to like let you stay that way. Essentially, this whole concept of like, you know, I love you, but you know, you're better than this, and encouraging people to become better, become the best versions of themselves possible. And that's one of the things that I like value in a friend. And this world really doesn't have much of that, because people don't want to challenge each other and, you know, become better. They just settle for mediocrity. And in this world, there's so many things that are crushing us down and trying to attack us and whatever. I get that at the end of the day, most people want to just go to sleep, but yeah, that's part of the battle, keeping us too distracted to question what's going on. Don't question the shape of the earth. Don't question any programming. Just keep running on that 9 to 5 hamster wheel until you die, probably from eating yourself to death. That's what most people do, right? Every meal they're eating death over 3 times a day. How many people have snacks, right? You got breakfast, lunch, dinner, a snack in between each one, a snack at the end of the day, like, and it's death all around. So how can you not have death coming faster and faster with every bite? Kyle says, my mom agreed to watch Christspiracy with me. Ooh, that's so cool. How close is the theater to you? The closest one to me is in Sacramento. So I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to go and see it, unfortunately. But that's really cool that that your mom's going to see it with you. I kind of was tempted to like say something about it to my parents, but I was also tempted. I was really hopeful for that Netflix documentary of You Are What You Eat or whatever, and then they showed like the porn, the sexual stuff, and like crap, I can't show this to my parents. I don't even want to watch it myself. I'm like, let's fast forward, get away from me. Like, I'm not interested in. I don't care about other people's sex lives. I don't want I'm not focused on sex in life. I have too much going on around me that like I'm just not focused on that. I'm not. I just don't care about that. I don't care about vegans or non-vegan sex lives. Okay. So yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I was really just disappointed with all of that. But anyways, moving on. Kyle says there's 2 in Ann Arbor. Oh, 2 in Lansing. Okay, both are 1 hour away. That's so cool that there's so many. Are there any parties or any like gatherings of people that are getting together before or after the video? That's one of the things that I would love to be able to do if I was to go down to Sacramento or even San Diego, to find like a get together of people so that you can actually like meet new vegans and hang out. I definitely crave community, and I've said it many times that it's way easier said than done. Especially in this love and light environment, where the love and light is only extended to those in your own circle and not the animals. And yeah, if you disagree with anything that the group is about, then the love and light doesn't come to you. Which I'm not actually complaining. I don't want your love and light because it's all fake. I've never come across someone that's like this love and light that came across as authentic and real. They're all like Yes, sister, brother, oh, goddess, this, God, like, just these, just, I don't know what other word to put it besides annoying and fake that they are. So, yeah. I don't want your love and light, but stop preaching about love and light when that's not really what you are about. So, anyways, too much of that around Mount Shasta, but it's kind of expected because people come here expecting like a spiritual experience and these, cacao ceremonies and all these other things. And there are inverts lining up the block to do these for them, to be in the position of power and shaman and guru and the especially the feminine divine like women's retreat like leaders around here too. So very frustrating. But yeah, kind of got last night I went to a play and the inverts love to like flock to these things, see on stage and like dancing around. And there was this one older man that was wearing a dress, and it's very entertaining. But I have really come to like going to plays and musicals and other forms of entertainment. It's definitely better than the television where it's 100% inverts 100% of the time. At least sometimes in the real world you can get real humans that go and participate in these performances and stuff. So yeah, it's really fun. Kyle says, have you wore your new cow shirt yet? I meant to bring it with me today, but I didn't. And plus I'm meeting up with Matt, so I probably should have worn it actually. I'm not sure that he's vegan yet, but I'm definitely pushing it, and I'm giving him a copy of the Gospel of the Holy 12 as well, so we'll see. I'm constantly pushing it with everybody, and yeah, it's hard to be, especially like close friends with non-vegans. Yeah. I'm just thinking about, I had a friend in Mount Shasta, and I kept saying, like, I wouldn't be doing this stuff, like, if you weren't vegan. Like, veganism is, like, really, it's the fundamental thing for me, because ultimately we're not really friends if we're not on the same page. Like, I'm doing a lot for the vision of the world that I am here creating. And if you are actively creating a world that goes directly against that, how can we actually say that we're like actual friends? We're not. Hey, so how's it going? Asterix761 says Reading has movie theaters. Yes, it does. I just saw like last night that the Cinemark has some sort of new seats that have louder speakers, and they also like move when during different action scenes and stuff in the movie, so that it feels more like you're on a ride, which is pretty cool. Nothing has really been out worth watching for a long time, so yeah. Hey Mark Sargent, how's it going? Just stopping by to say hi. We'll rewind to catch up this afternoon. Hope you are well. Thank you. I am. I hope you're doing well also. Never stop what you're doing and stay strong. Thank you. May you live in interesting times. Definitely. It's kind of hard to love-hate situation to be like alive at this time when there's so much darkness in this world. But on the other hand, like, we have this technology to be able to connect to each other. Like, we have so many people that are waking up to the truth of our reality. I was just in the store the other day, and I met this guy who was ex-military, who actually saw the book that David D got me about the murder of Moses. And he came over and started talking about conspiracies and stuff. And it was really... what was I even getting off on this tangent of? It was really cool to be able to, talk about that. And the reason why is because I mentioned to him, he brought up like the dark age, and I said, I think we're kind of coming out of the dark ages now, where humans have been completely deceived. What more defines the dark ages really as the darkness that humanity is living in and under right now. So, like I was saying, on one hand, it's really sad to be alive in this time. When you're like, oh, growing up, I would be like, oh, to be like dreaming, oh, to be alive in the I Love Lucy days where, the husband and wife don't even sleep in the same bed. And then you turn on television and it's like you're seeing naked people like shaking their butts at you. It's like, how did we do that? How did this happen, right? So yeah, I remember growing up and kind of like fantasizing about that, like innocence. That there's issues with that, obviously too. Husbands and wives should sleep in the same bed, and there's the own problems with that. But yeah, my whole point was there's bad parts to this being in this time, and there's good parts that we're coming out of it, that we get to essentially start playing the game. We've kind of been asleep at the wheel and allowing our choices to manifest this hell on earth by unconsciously, choosing to go along with the programming. And the programming that we're under is humans be the worst possible versions of themselves possible. Like that's what it's called. I'm not saying that's literally what the file programming is called, but that's what it is. They want us to be the worst versions of ourselves possible, to be deliberately dumbed down, to be careless about what we're eating, kill all the animals, trash the earth, destroy the rainforest, like do everything the worst. And like I said, this is the programming that we're under, and this is not something that humans came up with. I know that there are a lot of people that have become anti-human, especially vegans. They go through the awakening process of how we should be treating animals, and then they see the bigger picture and they realize, wow, humans are the demons in this situation. And you try to awaken them and they just say bacon. They give you every excuse in the book to keep hurting animals. It can make you very, very anti-human. But the humans are under this programming. We've been conditioned and programmed to do this. It's not our natural state. If you get a baby and, the classic example of, hold some fruit in one hand and a rabbit in the other, the baby's not going to be like, Mom, give me a knife so I can slice the rabbit's throat and bleed it out and then separate its body into pieces so that I can eat its flesh for a sandwich. It's going to go for the fruit. Like, that's what our natural inkling, our natural, our natural path is, whatever I'm trying to say. But yeah, so these programs have been programmed into us, and they can be programmed out of us. Babies are innocent, they're cute, they're harmless, they can be trained in the way to go. And I don't know about you, but that's definitely what I plan to do. So if you train them from a young age, then they're not going to stray from that path. If you train them right, not train them as in, oh, this is a choice, but you say, there's animals and we don't hurt animals. It's always, gentle when you pet the dog, and it's gentle when you touch the cow. Like, they're all gentle, soft hands. We don't hurt animals. It's as simple as that. Like, don't confuse that programming. And the child will never be confused. They have to be taken out and said, here's a little gun and go shoot the deer, and you get patted on the back when you go and kill animals. Like, it's contradictive programming. The same kid, if the kid was to turn around and go and shoot the neighborhood cats, we would be like, oh no, there's a Satanist on our hands. Like, this kid's a psychopath. But it's perfectly okay if he goes out in the woods, puts piss on himself, doesn't shower for days, and, goes and kills an unsuspecting deer. But make sure that you don't cry at Bambi, right? Because how many of you cry at Bambi and then turn around and go and kill Bambi's mom? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So Kaya says, enjoying your Cassie mug. Yes, that's pretty much all that I've been drinking out of at home, actually. So thank you. It's really nice to have such a big container for tea, because that's pretty much all that I drink all day long. So it says it's going. How you doing? I'm doing pretty well. I'm waiting for Matt to show up with David G says, what time does Matt show up? I'm not really sure. He says sometime shortly afternoon, and it's almost 12:45. So I don't know, but he usually has church on Sundays, so I'm not really worried that he's too late right now. David D says there are more and more people waking up. I agree. And then to combat that, more and more, fake videos and stuff to try to combat shills in flat earth groups and all this stuff. I've come across, many people that you try to tell them about flat earth, and then they go to YouTube and type in flat earth, and then they get like these debunking videos where the person that's like talking about flat earth is showing some sort of like little disc that has no like depth to it, floating in space, and they're like saying absurd things that flat earthers don't believe, and they're deliberately trying to confuse these people and keep them asleep. Like the person making the video, especially if it's like got thousands and thousands and thousands of views, they know that the earth is flat. They're just laughing they're saying, no, this isn't a book. Like, and if you think this is a book, then you're an idiot. This is a ball. Like, they're trying to confuse you, and this is what they do constantly. So keep that in mind when you are going throughout this world. That's what they do. They do it to me too. They'll be like, while showing you a picture of my flaring hips, they'll try to say, what flaring hips? It's like, are you kidding me? The one's right in front of your face, you idiot. All right. Getting a little bit worked up. David D says, those that deceives us about our flat earth, about our divine creation, they are anti-human and program us to be demons. Exactly. They want us to be the scum of the earth, the parasites, the demons, so that God will regret making us and perhaps go back to a creation like the Jinn that weren't humans, right? Any creation probably they would be happy with over humans, but different groups want their own species, right? There are different species groups like we talked about before, particularly the Jinn, that are these beings of smokeless fire that are extremely old. You have reptilians, like a lot of people are picturing these like humans with scales, but reptilians is a very broad category that includes even dragons, like different reptiles. And I think that the more humanoid creatures that they're talking about are kind of like the hybrids that are running our world, which are the result of, that Nephilim, the fallen ones, which are ultimately the Jinn, shape-shifting into human form to impregnate human females. And when they shape-shift into human form, they can bring different qualities, different, serpentine qualities, which are more crafty and skillful and cunning, whereas humans are the prey. We don't have claws. We don't have sharp teeth for tearing flesh and eating our prey raw as it bleeds out like lions do. Like, people want to try to say canines. Show me your canines. And even people that have more fang-like canines, the canine teeth aren't used in the way for like grinding meat and tearing flesh in humans like they are in carnivores that actually rip their prey apart as it's bleeding out in front of them. Humans don't do that. So yeah, all of these different species have had their own time at center stage, whether I don't know like how long they had, but from what I understand, they went around the carousel until it got like pretty old, and then a new species was created, and they went around the carousel until they got pretty old, and that kind of same thing repeats, from my understanding of how it works. And humans are just the most recent of creation, and we're spinning around on the carousel, and who knows really when Oh, I just got a message. We just got out of church. I'm going to drop my friend off, and I should be there in about 10 minutes. Sweet. All right, so I'm going to get ready to get off of here. But there's no guarantee that humans are going to be the next go round. And I am fundamentally pro-human. I want humans to continue to exist. So I want to encourage humans to become the best versions of themselves that they can be. Obviously, I am working on myself, and I need to work on myself more and become, a bright, shining example of that. Definitely easier said than done. But that is my intent and the reason that I do what I do. I want to make a golden age. I want to make a world that our creator can be proud of. And I want to be a mom. So I got to change this mess before it's safe for a child to come into it. So, yep. Anyways, let's check out what live chat is saying. And then I'm going to be getting off here soon. Kyle says Rudd is running a riddle rate. Yeah, something like that. Well, it's probably the pastor's fault, like usual, right? My uncle used to be a pastor for a while, and sometimes he would get really, he would get going and wouldn't stop. He says, oh yeah, gravity comes from a disk accelerating upwards. Birds are robots, and Australia doesn't exist. It's the most ridiculous thing. They just want to discredit truthers, and there's a lot of psyops out there, not just those ones that you've posted, but, piss drinking and just different things that they actually have convinced real flat earthers to do to make us look stupid, trying to convince us that viruses are somehow part of our bodies, healing mechanisms, detox mechanisms, when a genetic engineer literally has to put together all of the parts of a virus for it to exist in a lab. It doesn't exist outside of a lab, and they've convinced people to believe that it came from their own bodies. And the same people think that they're smarter than everybody else because they're flat earthers. So yeah, there's been a lot of specific psyops targeted at the truther community to take us from a place of, yeah, we do know better than the average person, to, whoa, you went way too far. You're now believing anything that is said. You kept your mind so open that your brain fell out. So you need to take a few steps back, put the brain back in, stop drinking your pee, please. That's really I don't know how they've convinced people to do that. But anyways, yeah. Okay. Aspect 761 says, I love your flaring hips. Oh, thank you. I'm going to be taking some more photos, hopefully relatively soon, maybe after my fruit feast, to post for more transvestigation information. Just to combat all of the constant attacks. Within the last week, I've had multiple people attacking me. And then, like I said before, I defend myself. And then they say, you protest too much. It's like, you're attacking me constantly. Anyways. Dave DC says you do have great hips. Aw, thank you. Mark Sargent says, have to run in a bit. Would be great if you make it to the big Flat Earth conference in October. Interesting. We'll let you know the location once we pick it. Okay, keep me informed. Oh, Aspect 761 says, and legs. Thank you. David says, inverts may be predators of humans, but we outnumber them 100 to 1. They fear us. And that's kind of interesting. 100 to 1, they're the predators, we're the prey. And how much do farmed animals outnumber humans? It's like the prey is way outnumbers the predators in all of these situations. Anyways, Jacob, how's it going? If you could, would you travel to the center or the edge? I definitely would be down to travel. I would want to travel trust the people that I'm traveling with. Some of these people are like, oh, you dumb flat earthers, you should go on a mission to Mars and whatever these space trips that they're offering. It's like, I don't even trust whoever's putting these lies on to begin with. It's one thing to get in an airplane, which I kind of don't always trust the people driving those or flying those, but yeah, I wouldn't trust someone that's taking part in a deliberate deception like space travel. But it would be really interesting to travel to the the ends of the earth. I'm not really sure how close that we can get, because I think that our creator is very intelligent and knew, humans especially are gonna be like, oh dude, you're not close enough to the edge. They're like, you get a group of them and they're gonna be like pushing each other towards the edge, or like trying to like to like, it's an enclosed realm. There's no way that you can get out of it, like inside of a cube, inside of a under a dome. So yeah, I think that's probably one of the reasons why it is enclosed, because if it was just this flat, thing like they portray when they're mocking us, like I said, humans would be like, dude, I dare you to jump off. Like, oh my gosh, you guys are idiots. You're eating Tide Pods. Of course you're going to try to jump off the edge if there was an edge. Yeah. Anyways, like I said, though, I'm going to head off of here because Matt should be here and I want to go buy his coffee before he gets here. So I'm going to go get in line, and I hope to post the next chapter, at least one chapter in the Mount Shasta video, if not more, in this next week. So stay tuned for that, and I will catch up with you next week at the same time, place, and hope you can make it. Oh, listen to the song. I have my Fever music video on BitChute. Check it out.